name is Penélope Johnson. I'm an associate professor at Durham University and translate from English into Spanish. I've chosen to read an extract from my translation into Spanish of 6,000 Miles to Home. Here it is, by Kim Kuhlman. This novel, inspired by a true story from World War II, tells the tale of a Jewish family in Poland who fled from the Nazis only to be arrested by the Soviets and sent to a forced labor camp. The passage I selected comes from the early part of the story during the family's final preparations to escape. And in this scene, we meet the mother, Josefina, her two teenage children, Peter and Susie, the housemaid and nanny, Helenka, who is not Jewish and will not be escaping with the family, and the family dog, Helmut, a brown Dutch hound. And I chose this excerpt because I want to highlight how the relationships and interactions between the characters can be captured in translation. So I will first read the English, and then I will read the Spanish, and then I will discuss a couple of things. When we get to Warsaw, Helenka, we'll send you the finest chocolate, Susie said. Sweet child, said Helenka. She pretended to tuck her hair behind her ear as she wiped aside an escaping tear. Josefina loved her then for such an emotion, and equally for the gesture that checked it. Susie, there'll be no time for shopping, you know, Peter said. We're trying to outrout the Nazis. Helmut jumped to the floor and waddled over to Josefina. There, little brown dog, she said, bending down to scratch him under the muzzle. Helenka will spoil you and you'll be so very fat. I know all about the stupid Nazis, Susie said. I was just trying to comfort Helenka, who's upset that we're leaving. Peter and Susie had been bickering these past few days, and though Josefina understood how the recent tensions were making everyone cranky, these small outbursts were tiresome. She was about to say, children, when at once a silence fell. Outside, the motors and wheels, hoofs and feet all came to a standstill, as if, Josefina thought, someone was trying to sort out in the confusion of rush departures into uncertain futures the real reason for all this movement. Even little Helmut, whom Josefina had picked up, sat still in his mistress's lap. And then the reason for the abrupt hush became apparent. A distant rumbling came towards them from Rheineck Square. The dog growled. Shh, Josefina said. As the sound neared, one could discern the menacing chants of the Hitler Youth. Their members had been parading around town singing nationalistic German songs. Now they were yelling anti-Semitic slogans and banging batons and sticks against doors and on sides of passing cars and automobiles. Occasionally, the sound of a human cry or the whimpering of an animal surfaced above the din. Helenka, Josefina said, take Peter and Susie to the cellar. She handed the dog to Peter. Do as you're told, she reminded her children. But mother, Peter said. Go, she said, now. Okay, so now I'll be reading my translation into Spanish. Cuando lleguemos a Varsovia, Helenka, te mandaremos el chocolate más fino, dijo Susie. Mi cielo de niña, dijo Helenka, fingiendo que estaba arreglando un pelo extraviado detrás de la oreja, mientras se secaba una lágrima que se le había escapado por la mejilla. Josefina sintió entonces un tremendo afecto por ella, por haber tenido tal emoción y haberla escondido con ese gesto. Susie, no vamos a tener tiempo de ir de compras, ¿sabes? Dijo Peter. Estamos intentando escapar de los nazis. Helmut saltó al suelo y se acercó a Josefina. Hola, mi perrito marrón, dijo inclinándose para rascarle el hocico. Helenka te va a mimar y vas a volverte un perrito gordinflón. Ya sé todo sobre los estúpidos nazis, dijo Susie. Estaba intentando consolar a Helenka, que está triste porque nos vamos. Peter y Susie habían estado discutiendo en los últimos días, y aunque Josefina entendía cómo las tensiones recientes estaban poniendo a todos de mal humor, estas pequeñas rencillas eran tediosas. Estaba a punto de decir «niños», cuando de repente cayó un silencio. Fuera, todo, motores y ruedas, pezuñas y pies, se paró. Como si alguien, pensó Josefina, estuviese intentando organizar, en medio de la confusión de estas partidas apuradas a futuros inciertos, la razón verdadera de todo este movimiento. Incluso el perrito Helmut, que Josefina había cogido en sus brazos, estaba sentado sin moverse en el regazo de su dueño. Y en este momento, la razón por el abrupto silencio se hizo evidente. Un estruendo distante llegó hacia ellos de la plaza Rheineck Square. El perro gruñó. «Shh», dijo Josefina. A medida que se acercaba el sonido, se podían discernir los cantos amenazantes de la juventud hitleriana. Sus miembros habían estado desfilando por la ciudad, cantando canciones nacionalistas alemanas. Ahora estaban gritando lemas antisemitas y golpeando las puertas de las casas y las carreteras y coches que pasaban con bastones y cañas. De vez en cuando se podía oír sobre el clamor un grito humano o los gemidos de un animal. «Helenka», dijo Josefina, «lleve a Peter y a Susie al sótano». Le dio el perro a Peter. «Obedezcan», le recomendó a los niños. «Pero mamá», dijo Peter. «Bajen», dijo, «ahora mismo». Okay, so in this excerpt, we can see some terms of endearment. First of all, Helenka, the maid, calls the young girl Susie sweet child, which was rendered as mi cielo de niña. I consider mi cielo de niña to be more appropriate than mi dulce niña or mi niña dulce, taking into account the context and the period of time portrayed. Peter, the son, addresses Josefina as mother. However, I chose mama, which I thought would indicate a closer and warmer relationship than the more formal mother. Finally, Josefina is saying goodbye to her dog because Helmut is going to stay with Helenka. And she says, there, little brown dog. And also, Helenka will spoil you and you'll be so very fat. This was rendered as, hola, mi perrito marrón. Helenka te va a mimar y vas a volverte un perro gordinflón. So very fat was translated by a suffix, gordinflón, inflón, which becomes much more endearing than the more literal muy gordo. That's showing again a much closer relationship between the pet and the owner. Therefore, the choices we make as translators affect how we portray the relationship between the characters of a text, such as, for instance, between a mother and her children, and a woman and her pet. Thank you.